Alright, what's going on everyone? Today I want to do a video on my current experience playing Monster Hunter Rise. This is probably the most time I sunk into a video game in a long time. Pretty much the entirety of April just went to me playing Monster Hunter and just went in like a snap. If you know me, I'm a pretty big Monster Hunter guy. I've done a video on Monster Hunter before. It's just like a short little meme on my channel where I was, messing around with the voice option in Monster Hunter for you. Fucking voice 18, man. Look. But I first started playing Monster Hunter back on the PSP, the Monster Hunter Freedom 2nd. It's the one that they introduced Nargacuga in. Back then when I first played that, the furthest I reached was into high rank. So when you just unlock that new high rank area, I forgot what the name is called. But that was when I was like, okay, this is way too difficult, I can't do this. Eventually I played a bit more Portable 3rd, I played the one on the Wii, I played the one on 3DS, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, Generations Ultimate, bit of World, and now finally Monster Hunter Rise. So for this video I'll leave some timestamps, but I do have a couple of things I want to chat about. But my general thoughts is this is probably the most refined, polished Monster Hunter that I've ever played. There's a lot of small aspects that just ties the whole experience together, and Monster Hunter Rise is probably one of the best games on the Switch right now. And this game came out a month ago and I already have around 150 hours. I've done all the quests, pretty much got all the end game gear, just farming up more charms, and I do have a few more arena quests to tackle down, but pretty much I am at the end of what the content for 2.0 is. But we're gonna start talking about the new hub area, which is Kamura, and this area is so good. Kamura is probably, high up there in terms of my ranking of the best Monster Hunter village, up there with Poke and Yukumo. Of course, you have like the great music that is that plays in the hub, and as well as in the town square. I also just love how the fast travel option is so well designed that when you go to Steelworks, every key function is just like one wirebug dash away, right? You got the village counter right next to it, you got the armory, you got the shop, you have the online features, and then you have the canteen, which is about, a little bit of a jog away. But all the core functions is straight there. And if you want to teleport to any other place, the list of the teleport location is also keyed out in a way so that you can get to the hub with 2 button presses. Just the overall layout is so streamlined compared to Monster Hunter World, where the hub is so big and all the core functions you gotta like walk a while to get to. And the fast travel point is through these elevators that are just like in this weird locations that you still have to do a little jog to get to. And it's just like, it adds extra time every time you return from quest and you just need to craft that, new armor piece, and you gotta do this whole jog, right? We're here in Monster Hunter Rise, it's just you press one button and you're there already. It's just so much easier. But the overall theme of this, kind of Japanese feel of the hub, where you see the sakura leaves falling down, you have this nice tea shop where you're eating food, and you got Yomogi doing that, cool eating song. It's great. It's really nice. At the beginning I never skipped it, but eventually, when you gotta be more efficient, I started to skip the song. But the song is really nice. It's really good. Another part I want to talk about is just the characters in the village. I'm pretty sure Monster Hunter Rise is the first game in the series where every single villager in the town has their own unique name, whereas like in the past you just have like, the green grocer or the fishmonger, and they don't have a name, or the village chief's son. In this game they really trying to get you to connect with the village. And this is not just in like sort of like you doing quests for them. This is how it was in the old games. You just they have a bubble and you talk to them and they're like, hey, can you give me the thingy, or can you hunt this monster that's that's help blocking the trade route or whatever. But in this game you really get a sense of like the whole town is supporting you. And I remember this dialogue option, even though, because how before you go on a quest in this game you eat the dangos in Yomogi's shop. But if you talk to like the rice merchant or like the green grocer, they talk to you like, hey, I know we don't directly support your hunting because, we're not making weapons, we're not, cooking food directly, but in our own way, we're also supplying the supplies for Yomogi, and we're rooting for you that way. And this applies to every single character in town, right? You have the buddy trainer that gives you, buddy equipment. You have the umbrella salesman that sits at the gate that welcomes you after every hunt, which is crazy because if you talk to her a bit more, her only, she sells umbrellas, but also she was given the task of closing the town, closing the village gate in case there was a rampage. And it's just like small details that along the way that, really adds to the whole world. And we can pick out 2 specific examples that really demonstrates this idea of the whole village coming together to defend against a rampage. And this is, the first sort of mini story arc that happens during the village quest, where you defend the first rampage, and you got, I believe, Yomogi and Iori. Them 2 are trying to help out with the rampage, right? But then the village elder goes to tell them like, hey, it's okay if you 2 don't go on the front line with, the hunters out here. You can support the village in your own ways. And these 2 are like just thinking like, what? How? We fight, right? We just have to fight. That's what we do. But then eventually they figured it out. They realized like it's not just fighting that we can help out the village. We can help out just by doing what we do. And Yomogi is gonna be making better food for the hunters. Iori is gonna be providing more palicos or palamutes. And in this, we can see how Monster Hunter Rise is tying together these sort of themes more. Of course, in the past, you always have this kind of like village elder telling you like, hey, you done a great thing for us. Or you get these little villagers dialogues that say, hey, thank you for saving the town. But in this one, it really heightens up that level. And it gets to that next level of you really feeling connected to the village that you're helping out. And this is what I really enjoy. In comparison to Monster Hunter World, I can't list 5 characters in Monster Hunter World, because they just weren't that memorable, and there were just way too many, random hunters littered about the Astera, Playing Monster Hunter Rise also made me think about Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate a lot, because it was the game that I've been playing the most before playing Monster Hunter Rise, but also a lot of the DNA of Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate carries over into Rise. And this is sort of seen in the styles or the switch skills for the weapons, and a lot of the weapons have that kind of styles or I think it's called arts in Generations Ultimate carried over in some way. Like I know dual blades have this Silkbind move where it's like an adapt evade basically from Generations Ultimate as a Silkbind attack. And also the Demon Flight switch skill is basically the aerial style from Generations Ultimate. Playing that, it's just kind of like you can see that they didn't completely forget about Generations Ultimate. Like they didn't just like, what, world is the new baseline that we're building off the weapons from. They also carry over some of the old stuff from Generations Ultimate into this game, which I really enjoy. And speaking of new weapons, I usually play these 4 weapons mainly. I play the Greatsword, I play Longsword, I play Dual Blades, and I play Lance. Greatsword in this game, I gotta say, feels slightly, I wouldn't say disregarded, but it just has less new mechanics than the other weapons. The one that I like the most from the Greatsword is definitely the Rage Charge, where the 3rd charge changed from True Charge Slash into Rage Slash, where you can tank a hit and that boosts the attack, but it doesn't do as much damage. But I just feel like before I got that switch skill, I keep whiffing that 3rd True Charge Slash, whereas with the Rage Slash, I can actually, land a hit, or even if I don't land it, I at least were able to tank a hit, That's kind of why like Greatsword didn't get as much love, because there's just one change. But I guess like the weapon mechanic in general was still pretty solid. Longsword is definitely the weapon that they worked on the most here. It's funny to think like the Longsword is always like the default poster child weapon for the series. I remember Freedom Unite in the cutscene they would have your hunter wear the Longsword. And in this game as well, your default weapon that as soon as you start out the game, they equip you with the Longsword. And the Village Elder also gives you the ceremonial Longsword. So they definitely trying to push the longsword pretty hard, and that's why online you see a lot more longsword users. Speaking of this longsword, it reminds me that this game feels so similar in tone as Monster Hunter Portable 3rd, in that it's also set in this Japanese village. You have Yukumo, right? And you also have this you have the Elder Dragon and you have this flagship monster, Zenogre. And what I find so similar is in the opening cutscene for Portable 3rd, you have your hunter, trying to get back to the village, but then, he sees in the clouds there was, Amatsu flying around, and that's the kind of the end game Elder Dragon of that series, of that game. Then they also encounter Zenogre, just like how in this game you have the Elder Dragon, Ibushi, and Narwa, but then you also have the mid checkpoint kind of like Magnamalo monster, and it's also they also share the same skeleton as well. So that's what immediately made me think of Portable 3rd. But getting back to the weapons control, longsword, you have, how many counters does longsword have at this point? I'm pretty sure you have 4 counters at this point. You have 4 moves that if you time it properly can avoid all damage. You have the Foresight Slash, you have the Spirit, the Spirit Sheath thingy that you can do. You also have that new Silkbind move, and you also have that new Draw Slash that you can like tank a hit if you time it correctly. It's crazy. They definitely give a lot of love to longsword. Dual blades, definitely really fun. If you got the correct skills, like if you put on Feral Demon mode, put on Demon Flight, you can kind of turn off your brain and just slash away. It doesn't require that much sort of precision in terms of where you're hitting as other weapons. If it's like, so I usually use dual blades when it's a monster that I'm really familiar with and I just want to get it done with. So like when I'm farming Nargacuga for the rare part, I just put on a new dual blade and just swing away. But the lance is a weapon that I use in World, where if it's like a new monster and I just want to clear it without triple carding or whatever, the lance is probably like the safest weapon because you got the strongest shield in the game, and you also got the new counter move where you can just sit down and then just be able to counter 360 degree. That move probably saved my life a lot. That's still in this game, but in this game Lance has so much more mobility options. The shield dash that you can do, or is it the shield charge where you sort of run forward a little bit, that can be done in any direction, and you can follow it up with a jumping thrust in any time. So the maneuverability of the lance is even better than the old games. Of course, there's a lot of new monsters in this game. The annoying thing for me is that these monsters are really good, but there's only so much that are like these kind of end game monsters. There's a lot that are just like early to mid tier monsters that you kind of like just get over with before you reach the more difficult 6-star, 7-star monsters. So like Tetranodon is cool, but he's like 2-star. Same with Agnesum. Bisha 10's like 3-star, I think. Which is why like if I check my hunting records, I've hunted like Bisha 10 like what 4 or 5 times, and it's sad because I like the design. Bisha 10's probably one of my favorite new monsters just because he's got so much cool moves. He's got different fruits that have different status elements, but because he's a mid-tier monster, I don't have the incentive to farm his armor or weapons because I know there's a better one. I know Nargacuga is gonna have better weapons than Bisha 10, even though they look cool, But in terms of the new monster, like the new harder monsters, Gosorag is pretty cool. He's got like dual blades as well. He's got these ice dual blades when he's enraged near death. He's got these 2 ice dual blades. And if you get stunned by any of his attacks, you'll see him just sort of like, do that finishing move on your hunter if you don't dodge out of the way fast enough. Almudron, I hate Almudron. I don't get why people like Almudron. Almudron is so fucking annoying. He takes up like half the map because of his body size, and his tail just like moves whatever. It's a monster that is really hard to telegraph because he's so big. It's kind of like Nargarella from Monster Hunter 4 ultimate or something, because it's so big that you can't tell what the monster is doing. Ragnakadaki, I'm surprised Ragnakadaki was only introduced in the hub like 6-star, 7-star or something like that, because even though she was part of like the new monster lineup, you don't really get to fight her until like really near the end of the hub quest. She's surprisingly easy, especially if you're playing like bowgun. There's just so many breakable parts on her. It's a very crisp fight. But it was not as difficult as I thought she would be. Of course, we need to talk about Magnamalo, the flagship of Monster Hunter Rise. He is a beast, he is awesome, but he just will not drop that purple orb for me. I've got like 3 orbs in total, and I've hunted him more than like 50 times or something. He doesn't drop the purple orb for me. I broke every part, I tried capturing, I can't get it, okay? But apart from that, cool design. I love how he's got that charge up on his arms and tails when he's enraged, and you can like kind of break that part, and then that knocks him out of that enraged state. Very cool. The new blast element that he gives you is pretty insane, that you need to wire dash out of, and that leaves behind like this sort of fire on the ground. Then if he hits it, he gets knocked out as well. So that, I think, as a mechanic is pretty cool, but we need more blast element monsters in this game. Currently there's like 3. There's a few more returning monsters with some new changes. Volvidon, I've seen a lot of clips of Volvidon stun locking players. That happened to me as well. But overall, if you're not that unlucky, I find the fight to be a lot more easier than the old games, especially that Volvidon's fart move in the old games. It's like an aerial effect, it's like a circle around his body. But now in Monster Hunter Rise, it's only like to his side and back. So if you stay to the head, you don't get hit by that fart move, which I find to be like, it makes him so much more easier, because in the old games, as soon as you see him about to wind up that fart move, you just gotta get out of the way and wait for him to finish. But now, it's like you can keep going if your positioning is right. Kezu is back finally, and he's just like how I remembered it really, which is fine. And also Basarios. Man, Basarios got nerfed so hard in this game. How in the old games, you remember Basarios in the old game, how you just like the first 10 minutes is just your weapon bouncing off of him until you finally break his stomach, and then you can get some hits in. Now, when he's just got this permanent red area on his stomach, that's always a weak point. So it makes it so much easier even when your weapon's at green, you know. And his fire move, where he's sort of like you know, he walks forward and then like puffs out fire around him. That wind up is so long now. In the old games, you see he does like a little preempt and he does it immediately. But now in Monster Hunter Rise, he gives like a full like 4-second warning for the players, like, hey, I'm about to do the fire move, and then everybody got the time to move out the way. So I'm hoping maybe they'll bring back like a, I don't know, like a deviant or a variant of Basarios, or a high rank Basarios, like in G rank maybe, that gives him some of the old moves back, because this Basarios is way too easy. Juratodos, why the fuck did they bring Juratodos back? And why the hell did they make him like a high rank urgent quest? That is like beyond me, because Juratodos in Monster Hunter World was just like a punching bag. He was like pretty low rank and it's like very easy to kill. But for some reason, in this game, I think they like buffed him up a little something. Because like I remember fighting him with the great sword for the urgent, and I just never want to fight him again. He is just so annoying. All the mud monsters in this game is just annoying to me. So for Monster Hunter Rise, we have 5 maps to play on if you don't count the arena or the final boss area or the Rampage area. There's 5 hunting zones, and 2 of them are returning areas from Monster Hunter Portable 3rd, and they've been remade for the for Monster Hunter Rise like open map. We know that Flooded Forest was a remake of the same map from Portable 3rd, but I didn't realize that Sandy Plains was a remake as well, because when I first walked into Sandy Plains, I remember seeing that you know, that entry area with a tree, and you got some Rhinopolis just chilling, sleeping on the tree. When I first saw that, I was like, that kind of reminds me of something. But then I realized like this is the same fucking place. This is the same fucking map. There's this video on YouTube, I'll link it in the description maybe, where they're comparing the two maps, and it's awesome how they just reimagine while retaining the same identity of the map. I wish they would do more of this kind of remake style, because I would love to see Deserted Island be remade, or even the Tundra area from Monster Hunter Freedom United. I'm pretty sure it's Tundra, but it's the opening snowy mountain area. That would be cool. Shrine Ruins is really nice. It's like the starting area, and because we played the demo so much, I just kind of already know where to go. The Frost Islands is okay. I remember me and my friend, we were struggling to find out where the cave entrance for the underground area was for so long, because there's one very obvious opening, but then the other opening is like tucked away on the side of the mountain somewhere. So yeah, the map is kind of hard to read sometimes, but it's not as hard to understand as the volcano map, because my goodness, it's always such a difficult thing trying to find where the monster is. Is he like on top of the mountain, or is he underneath, or is he underground? A lot of time when you're hunting online, you just see people run off in random directions because no one knows the best way to get to the place yet. I feel like that's gonna be ameliorated once more people get familiar with the maps. But overall, can I just talk about the current online multiplayer situation right now? No one fucking knows how to sleep bomb. No one sleep bombs monsters anymore. What the fuck is wrong with that? Every time, you know, there's your Palico has the endemic life barrage, right? So sometimes the monster will get stunned, which is cool. Sometimes the monster will proc sleep. So then you can see like the music stops playing, the monster just skips to that like sleep animation, but then some fucking longsword user just keeps attacking. And you're like, dude, why is no one sleep bombing anymore? Because back in World even, everybody sleep bombs. Back in Generations Ultimate, as soon as a monster sleep, everybody just chills out, pulls out the large barrel bombs, and then starts, you know, placing the bombs. But now, some fucking reason, no one does it anymore, and it's all these fucking new players just hammering away, going through their combos, and just like not even paying attention to the monster behavior, and it pisses me so much. Apart from that, there's also times where I encountered players who are just AFK, like they'll spawn into the camp and then just don't do anything. And if I'm the host, I usually just kick them out because they're not contributing to the hunt. I just kick them. But sometimes when I join like someone else's quest and you have like one player who's just chilling at the camp, I'm just like, well, I don't want to play this anymore, you know? Why is this guy getting the extra loot for not doing the fucking thing? To speak of multiplayer, the new Rampage mode is, I would say it's a breath of fresh air. I'm thankful that, you know, they didn't try to tie the game to the Rampage mode too hard. It's more like a side activity that if you want to do, you can do, and it gives you some weapons and some skills from that, but Rampage isn't overtaking the main mechanic. But overall, it's a good way to farm some materials and the defender tickets, which is good for melding. But apart from that, it's just like fun, I guess. It's just like mindless fun that you can do. It was annoying that the Apex monsters are locked behind Rampage mode at one point during the 1.0 launch. But now after 2.0, it seems pretty clear that they're gonna like sort of phase them into the main game. Like the Apex monster, they're gonna put them into regular hunts, which is probably the best thing, because during Rampage mode, you're doing like 10 times the normal damage to the monster. So, and when an Apex show up, you know, you can kill them in 5 minutes because of all the weaponry. You got the counter signals that boost your damage. It's not really much of a fight. But as soon as you bring the Apex monster out of the map, it's like a totally new thing. And the Apex monster, I gotta say, so fantastic. And it's clear that the Apex is, you know, based on the Deviant from Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. So you got the Apex Arzuroth, which is basically Red Helm Arzuroth, because of that. He's got that swipe move with his brace, with his arms, that like big swipe that carries over. And in Generations Ultimate, that hit was a one-hit kill move, right? That was a one-hit kill move at the at G5 EX rank. You also got the Apex Rathian, which is Dread Queen, who leaves behind these annoying fucking spikes on the ground so that you can't cut the tail that easily. And of course, the Apex Mizutsune is Soulseer with the explosive bubbles. Doing these hunts out of the Rampage is so much more fun because all these monsters are kind of mid-tier, but the Apex just boosts their, attack power and their moves that you actually gotta take care of your health and all that. Right now, because 2.0 just came out a few days ago, the majority of players online are not geared up for the new monsters, which is why I just don't do much online hunts now, because you got the triple cards showing up now, and people who are just not upgrading the armor, not doing the upgrading the weapons properly, and just not being able to keep up with the new monsters and carding way more often than before. So right now, it just takes a while for the main player base to build up to the level, to the end game. And speaking of the end game, during 1.0, the end game was just farming the final boss, Ibushi and Narwa. Ibushi is locked behind the Rampage mode, so he's not that much of a challenge. And Narwa, as soon as people figured it out, the best way to run Narwa is to get the the Nargacuga light bowgun set. It was just like a farm fest, and just you can clear a quest within 10 minutes and get all the drops, and then immediately put all the drops into the melding pot to make charms. That was the end game. For me, melding has not been going so well. I haven't got the god rolls. I haven't got the weakness exploit attack boost 2. I don't have that yet. I'm still trying, but right now still stuck getting muck resistance. Also in 2.0, we got the new Elder Dragons, Chameleos, Kushala Daora, and Teostra. They're back, and farming them seems to be the main thing to do now, and I find them to be a pretty big challenge. But the fact that their armor kind of counter each other, you can kind of negate a lot of their moves if you're just using their armor. So if I'm fighting Kushala, I'll put on the Chameleos armor to negate wind, pressure, and all that. The new Elder Dragon weapons are really nice. The armor set looks cool, and I'm so happy that in 2.0 they brought back the layered armor system. This layered armor system is probably the best iteration of layered armor in Monster Hunter history, because in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate you have transmog, but the downside to that is you actually have to make both pieces of the armor that you want. If you want the stats of one and you want the look of one, you gotta craft both pieces, and then you gotta combine them, and that becomes one fused armor piece. And to do that, you actually need the special ticket for each piece of the armor. So if you want to fuse the chest piece, you gotta get the chest piece fusion ticket or whatever it's called. That's kind of how it was in Generations Ultimate. In Monster Hunter World, layered armor was like an event item, right? You kind of have to, you can craft them, but it's also tied to the events. So you gotta get this, summer festival ticket, and then using the tickets, you can craft the layered armor. But now in 2.0, you can craft any armor as a layered armor. And the best part about it is it costs, 1 or 2 outfit tickets that you get from just hunting anyways. And then the material cost for that layered armor is barely anything. It's just one common monster drop from that layered piece of armor. So a Rathian layered armor would just cost 1 outfit ticket and 1 scale or something. And that's why fashion hunting is so much easier now. You can get most pieces for so cheap. It's fantastic. So now we're kind of near the end of this video. I want to talk about Future Update 3.0. They're gonna put a new ending for the game because Monster Hunter Rise the story for it is not completed yet. We ended the game with Ibushi and Narwa kind of just defeated. You could call it we kind of repelled them in the old games, you could say, but they're still alive, as we can see in the final cutscene. Hinoa and Minoto, they have still resonated with the 2 Elder Dragons, so that means we're probably gonna get I'm thinking we might get a double hunt where we have to kill both Ibushi and Narwa together, or as we've seen in the Narwa fight, I'm pretty sure she's a pregnant Elder Dragon, so it might be interesting. We might be fighting the whatever she gives birth to, and because we have the wind and thunder element, I wonder what that new Elder Dragon that they give birth to is gonna be. They're gonna also add new monsters, and for me personally, I am praying for Legiacrus, the Thunder flagship from Tri, Gormagala, because he's just the coolest monster ever, and he shares the same skeleton as Magnamalo, so there's a pretty high chance, if that makes sense. And of course Glavenus, because his weapons are cool. His weapons are epic. Mizuchune's in. Glavenus is, please make Glavenus a thing. And my goodness, if they bring Astalos and Gammoth, that would be awesome. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Let me know if you're playing Monster Hunter Rise. Maybe we can get like a little hunting party going sometimes. I did get a new capture card, which is why I've got this sort of gameplay playing in the background. I was testing it out, how it goes. Follow me on Twitter to see more updates. I do have a video plan that I'm working on that's a proper video. Unless Monster Hunter gives us a new update or something, then that's on hold forever. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.